Hey folks, good morning. Bull Run boys. Wanted to talk about the XRP buyback. Now, we're going to cover a couple of different things, but the first thing I'd like to talk about is the credibility of the people that are even discussing this. Um, the first one goes by XRP Lion One on Twitter. Uh, he's basically a forensic accountant. Pretty sharp guy. He knows his numbers. I would say probably an expert numerologist. Um, and he's prophesied that the Lord has given him the word that this buyback is going to happen. And for those of you that discount that, basically because it's coming from the Lord, maybe you're not a believer, whatever the reason. Um, let's take a look at Jimmy Valley from Valhalla Capital. He's the one that actually formalized the proposal and presented it to the Federal Reserve. And the third one is Baba Cugs. He goes by Baba Cugs on Twitter. Now, one thing I'd like to mention is that no matter, I know sometimes people differ in their beliefs spiritually or whatever, but we have to be careful not to limit ourselves from receiving information just because we may be on a different team than somebody else. Okay, you can even learn from your enemies. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the first question that comes up is why would the government pay thousands and thousands of dollars for something that they can buy for 80 cents? Well, it really comes down to the amount of debt that we have and something called an RV or revaluation. It's basically where they can purchase something low and assign it a value, and that new value is what covers the debt. So the other issue is the liquidity crisis. And for those of you that don't understand liquidity, it's just kind of a very brief crash course in that. Suppose, for example, that you are an American manufacturer and you need a part from China. So you take your $10 million and you send it over to China through our current system, which is we use SWIFT to transfer money across borders. And SWIFT not only has fees, but it also locks up the money. So therefore you have no control of that money for 7 or 10 days or however long it takes to get to China. Using this current system, that's a lack of liquidity, and both people lose, both the shipper and the receiver, or the sender and the receiver, rather. And here's why. You lose control of that $10 million order the minute you send that money, because once the message is sent, the money goes through Nostro Vostro and everything else and has to go through these holding accounts, so to speak. But during that time, you can't earn interest on your $10 million because it's essentially been sent, right? Just not received. Now, if you're earning 5%, that 500 grand a year, what's that? There's 4.33 weeks a year or per month. That's about $9,700 that it cost you to send that money just in loss of interest earnings. Okay, so not only did you pay a high fee to move that money, but you also lost control of that money and the earnings thereof. The same thing goes for the receiver on the other end. So if the receiver takes your $10 million and they need to spend, $500,000 or $600,000 in the first few weeks on your order, there's $9.5 million that they can't use because they don't have it yet. Right? They can't use it to gain either. So this is creating really a liquidity crisis in business all around the world. And when you factor in, somebody doing 20 or 30 orders, maybe 50 orders per year like this, that is a lot of loss. That's a very expensive issue. Okay. So first we have the credibility of the people that are talking about it. And the types of people that we're not talking about part-time investors that don't have any financial knowledge. These people, um, they're credible, and they have knowledge of the economy and knowledge of the treasury and knowledge of law and understanding what's going on. So for a part-time investor that doesn't really understand what's going on, it can be a little bit confusing. And that's the first question that comes to mind, is why they would pay so much for it. Many have said, well, they're just dragging this out so that they can buy it cheap. But what they haven't done is explained why they're dragging it out so that they can buy it cheap, is because of the revaluation, which is necessary to solve the liquidity crisis. Okay. Uh, the thing we need to keep in mind with the buyback is that XRP Lion 1 has prophesied a word from the Lord that this is going down. Now, whether you're a believer or not, that's on you. I hope that you come to the Lord and that you find peace with Him. If you look at the fruits of the flesh and the fruits of the Spirit, and watch how someone walks their life out, you can kind of tell who you need to listen to, right? If you get a selfish or an eerie vibe from somebody, you need to pay attention to that. They're double-minded people. Pay attention to that. I had my own personal experience with this, and I didn't understand it at the time. I'll just go ahead and rehash it now. But for those of you that, maybe this is the first video you've seen of me, but quite a while back, I had a very strong vibe from the Lord, and it was almost like an instruction, and it just said, you need to buy this XRP. And I can't explain the strength behind that. I'd call it a command, I guess. I knew that if I didn't, I would forever pay the price for it. So I don't know, folks. Just, you have to trust your intuition. One of the best ways to get clarity is to pray. Pray to God and ask Him for clarity. We've also talked about stewardship and things like that. Not everyone is going to be qualified for large amounts. Someone could benefit from maybe a few $100s worth, and if it just pays off their mortgage, I mean, that could be huge for some people, for anyone, really. But regardless of the amount you've invested, that's really, it's irrelevant to some degree, because we can't compare our investment to other people's. You can't do that. If you're constantly comparing that, you're going to compare what kind of shoes you've got, or what kind of hat you wear, or what kind of car you drive. Just live your life, man. Just live your life and love the Lord and trust Him. And find time to live in the now and be skeptical a little bit, question things. God even asks us to search Him, question Him. It's okay. He wants you to, because when you read the Word, you're going to get the answers, and He knows that. So I got a really good feeling about this, folks. It's more than a good feeling. It's I'd almost call it confirmation, and I feel really good for the people that are invested in XRP. I really do. It gives me a lot of joy in my heart to know that God is going to do for you maybe what you can't do for yourself. That gives me a lot of joy. So anyway, the buyback is credible. It's a credible and plausible thing. They have reason to do it. They have a problem that XRP can solve. Okay, and you need to sometimes not try to, if you don't understand these things or you don't understand finance, you don't understand how money works, that's fine. But try not to allow your, maybe if you have limited knowledge, don't let that stop you from moving. Okay. Uh, it could take you 20 years before you're comfortable enough doing something. And sometimes we just need to move. Sometimes you just got to go. Just do it. Uh, there's a skit in an Indiana Jones movie. I love it. I need to post a link to it. And it really talks about the whole premise of it is faith. And the guy Indiana Jones is getting ready to cross the this pit or whatever it is, and it's the bridge of faith. He has to step out before the bridge actually shows himself. Now, if he doesn't believe, the bridge won't show and he's going to fall. So you've got to believe before that bridge will show and give you access. And that's really how the kingdom of God works. You've got to have faith. Got to have faith. So anyway, folks, I hope this video helped you a little bit. Just to recap, consider the people that are talking about the buyback. Go back and look through their threads, see what they've done. The second one is the revaluation and understand why that would be necessary. And the third would be the liquidity issue and how XRP could solve that. So anyway, folks, enjoy the rest of your day. Be blessed. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.